This is Cam from Epic Conversions. That's epicconversions.com. And today I want to talk to you about something that helps me make money every single day that I do it. Um, and I say this to you because I think it'll help you make money too. So, um, what is it that I want to talk about? I want to talk about a little something that people call IPAs, right? IPAs. And you got direct IPAs and you got indirect IPAs. And like the direct IPAs can make you money today, and the indirect IPAs, they can make you money, but it's easy to get lost in the weeds with too many indirect IPAs, and the money kind of dries up a little bit. So what is an IPA? What am I talking about? I'm talking about an income producing activity. Okay, very simple. Income producing activity. A a- an IPA, a direct IPA, is basically, oh hey, what's up, Andrew, Lieutenant Dizzy? How you guys doing? Um, so when you got an IPA, it's a direct, it's a income producing activity, right? It's a direct income producing activity. Anything you do today that could lead to a sale today is an IPA. If I send an email out today that promotes an offer, that is an IPA, right? And you know, ideally, you want to do that every single day. um, I sent an email out today to my list. It's promoting an offer, and that potentially makes me money, right? Now, even days where it doesn't make you money, it has the potential to make you money. So the action that you take potentially can make you money. Okay. So you want to get into this kind of discipline of, you know, doing an IPA every single day, income producing activity every single day. It doesn't have to be the only thing you do. And look, I don't think that it should be like necessarily the only thing you do, because you got these other things called indirect IPAs, right? So like if I design like a logo for my website, that's indirect IPA. Like that could produce money for the future. This very live stream that you're watching right now, this is an indirect IPA. You say, "Why, Cam? You're gonna pitch your, I'm gonna pitch my offer on this live stream. I am, but I'm not gonna spend this whole live stream talking about my offer." You know, you ever watch a webinar where like, sorry, I put a mint in and now it's like messing my talking up. Let me, let me chew it up. I'll chew it up so I can talk to you guys again. You ever watch a webinar where it's like half the webinar is like education, then you can feel it almost instantly. Like the second half of the webinar goes into pitching, right? And they start stacking value, and they got like a bonus stack, and then they got a pitch, and then beginners are showing off the guns. Oh man, yeah, that's me. Um, so yeah. So, anyways, you got direct IPAs, you got indirect IPAs. When you watch a webinar, half the webinar is spent with the pitch. That's totally fine. That is an IPA, right? The the webinar has an intention, and the intention is to drive a sale today. All right. Now, when you look at a live stream like what I'm doing here, all right, this is a webinar that, or this is, I'm sorry, this is a live stream that is producing value for people. It's teaching people something. Yes, I'm pitching my products in this live stream. Yes, I'm producing brand awareness. I'm building brand awareness. I am building brand equity with this live stream, but it's more of a long game, right? I maybe collectively 5 minutes of this live stream, if that, will be spent with me pitching. Okay. Which is fine, which is totally cool. This live stream is great. I regularly inject free content into the market, right? I think that's a huge part of my business, injecting free content into the market regularly to keep myself top of mind in the market. It's important. It's important. Okay. But it's easy to look at something like this and say to yourself, well, I don't understand why I'm not making any money. I mean, I'm doing everything I'm doing is supposed to generate money, right? Everything I'm doing is supposed to make money. But it's really it's not, right? It's not. Yes, this generates money, but it's not direct, right? It's not like right now, right? It's not right now because the intention on this is like a hybrid. You understand what I'm saying? Like the intention on this live stream, it's hybrid, right? What am I doing? This live stream is designed to build, audience on Substack. It's designed to put people on my email list. It's designed to pitch my offer. It's designed to do several things. It's designed to help people through education. It's designed to do several things. It's like this multi-purpose piece of content. Well, that's long game. That's long game, man. That's indirect IPA. And what I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with indirect IPA. It's a good part of business. It's a marketing asset. However, it's not the same thing as a direct, IPA, you know? It's not the same thing as a direct income producing activity. And I think it's like the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I think a lot of people do kind of get mixed up. They get mixed up, they get lost in the weeds. I wrote a few of these down. Fake IPAs is what I call them. Like this live stream you're watching right now, like it would be easy for me to, if I didn't know better, it would be easy for me to think this was an IPA. Oh, this is an income producing activity. I got to do a daily live stream every single day. It's income producing. This has a potential to make me money, right? Yes, but what is the intention of the live stream? Is the intention of the live stream strictly to promote my product? Is it strictly to push people into something today? Because if it's not, then it's indirect. Another example of a fake IPA would be training, endless training. I'm not saying you shouldn't like read a book. Okay. I'm not saying you should never, do a training or anything like that. I'm not saying that. In my business, I have like time dedicated to training and then time dedicated to productivity. Like it's split. I got training and productivity. They're two separate things. But training is not an IPA, right? You aren't going to make any money like going through someone else's training, right? Now, it could potentially make you money. You need to learn stuff and that could give you ideas to make more money. And that's fantastic. I was on Andrew's, there's Andrew. I was on his live stream the other day and he was teaching some amazing stuff. And he taught me something about, oh man, I drew a blank. Anyways, he taught me something really cool about weight. Right. He was saying that fat and muscle, like it's the same weight, man. Like 5 pounds of fat is the same as 5 pounds of muscle. They don't weigh any different. And I was blowing my mind when he was saying that because I was like, holy crap, I've been hearing that, muscle weighs more than fat or fat weighs more than muscle or something like that for a while now. I mean, I didn't even think about it like that. There he is talking right now. Muscle does not weigh more than fat, right? I love it. I love it. And on that call, he was talking about that, and I completely lost my train of thought, man. I completely lost my train of thought. Holy moly! Wow. Where did it go? Where did it go? I don't know. Oh, yeah. On that call, Andrew was saying, "Hey Cam, you inspired me on your call, dude. You inspired me." And I thought that was a really cool thing of him to say. But it's like the inspiration that you get from watching a live stream or listening to someone's training, or the inspiration you get from going through a course, like it's only education. It's only inspiration. It doesn't mean anything until you take action on it and make something happen. Right. So like the training itself, going through like reading a book or whatever, like these can feel like very, productive activities, but they're really not. So I do think it's important to kind of separate like the two things, like education, productivity. They're two separate things. Like you need them both, right? They're like two sides of the same coin to like build this strong business, but they are separate sides. There's a difference between heads and tails. You know what I mean? And they're not the same thing. So it's important to make time for education, but also it's important to keep it in its place. It's not going to make you money. It's just like something you need, but then you have to apply it. You can't just get it and spend all your time getting it. So endless training, fake IPA. Okay, another one, social media engagement. Right, when we build businesses, especially when we're first getting started building businesses, we get on these, social media platforms, man. We're trying to interact with people. Hey, great post, blah, 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 blah. We're trying to network with people and, we're trying to, build networking friendships. We're trying to build peer to peer, relationships. We're trying to like interact with people and all that stuff is great. But again, that's indirect IPA, man. You are building a network of friends. You're building a network of prospects. You're building a network of potential business partners, but it's indirect IPA. None of that stuff is going to translate to money today. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with these activities. Okay. These are marketing activities. There's nothing wrong with social media engagement. Okay. But it's just that, like, every single day, you should actually have real income producing activities. Okay. Every single day, something every single day should put you in a position to make some money, whether it happens or not. Whether that means an email that goes out to your list, a live stream that you do, that sole purpose is to pitch people on something. I'm not saying it has to be like just a straight commercial. Okay. I'm not saying it needs to be a straight commercial. You can do it in a way that can still provide value for people. At the same time, it needs to be direct. Hey, guess what? I'm doing this live stream, and for the next 4 days, I am running a sale on this product. So go click the link in the description, check it out, right? So with the live streams and with the video content, the difference between indirect and direct often is how much intention and where the intention lies with what you're doing on the live stream or on the video, okay? How much time is spent talking about the product you want them to go check out? Is it like half the video? Or is it like a simple little 5-minute pitch at the end? Oh, by the way, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Share it with someone you might like. Oh, and by the way, I have this thing available for sale. You can go check it out if you're interested. And it's like 10 seconds of your 30-minute video. That's not an IPA, okay? That is an indirect IPA. Perhaps it will produce some revenue for you somewhere down the road, but it won't be today, very likely, okay? So there's a difference, right? Social media engagement. We got this old saying in marketing here. We say, use social media. Don't let social media use you, okay? So when you get into social media and you start getting lost in the weeds and you start arguing with people about, birth control and, I was talking about being on Andrew's live stream the other day, and he was talking about people getting triggered when he says fat. If he says fat, man, you don't want to trigger anybody. I said, what? Is fat a bad word? I guess fat's a bad word. You could trigger people. They get upset because you use the word fat. I don't know. Maybe it's a kinder, gentler world these days. I feel like it's not a bad word. I feel like sometimes people get fat, and that's just the way it is. But regardless of my old dog opinions, when you get on social media and you're there to do you're there to do networking and you're there to do marketing. You're there to do networking. I see what you're saying, Andrew. I'm not going to say it, man. I'm not going to say that one. But I agree. I agree. Uh, when you're there on social media, you're there to do networking. You're there to do marketing, and you get caught up in these conversations that really don't have anything to do with anything. Now you're letting social media use you, okay? Because then you get caught up in those one time. You leave a comment on something you think is silly or you don't agree with. Next thing you know, you log on to your social media platform and like your timeline's starting to get filled up with more and more stuff like that. and you start commenting on more and more stuff. Why are you commenting on all that stuff? Why is all that stuff filling up your timeline? Because the algorithms see that's what's engaging you. The algorithms are going to feed you more of what keeps you on the platform longer. That's how they're designed. So if you interact with this stuff, if you AKA let social media use you, then, fake IPA, man. Fake income producing activity. You think you're networking? You think you're going to do something to produce money? You're not. You're not producing money. Even like networking the way you're supposed to be networking is not really a true direct IPA, because true IPAs make you money today. They have the potential to make you money right now. And what I'm saying is every day you should be doing one thing that has the potential to make you money right now. Okay. Now, for a lot of us, that's an email. That's like a daily email, you know, send an email out a day that can make you money. What else? What's another example of a fake IPA? Fake income producing activity is what we're talking about, right? What's another example? Over planning, right? I'm guilty of this myself. When I think about like what's right in my business and what's wrong in my business and what I would like to fix, I will sit down and man, I will spend an hour or two like mapping out what it looks like for the next 12 months. Seriously, the next 12 months. Like I will map out 12 months. And I didn't start out that way. I remember a long time ago, I started following this marketer named Alex Jeffries. He's a student of Rich Schefren. But I learned from him about like this idea of, kind of like starting from a year out, like what's the goal for the year? And then like break that down into 4 3-month goals. And then break that down into 1-month goals. And then break that down into weekly goals, right? And then break that down into daily do lists. And like it blew my mind the first time I heard that. I was like, what? It just felt overwhelming to me. Like, how can I have like a goal for a 12-month goal and somehow break that up into 4 quarters of what I'm going to be doing in each quarter to achieve that goal, and then break that up into 1-month periods to achieve that quarterly goal, and then break that up into weeklies, and then break that up into dailies. For some reason, to me, hey, maybe I'm just a big dumb animal, who knows? But for some reason, it was a lot for me to like kind of digest. And the first couple times I tried to do it, I failed. It was like I'm getting overwhelmed, man. I don't understand how to connect the dots from this to this. It was a lot, and then, but with practice, I figured out how to do it, and I started doing it, and now I plan a lot of things out, and I do think about a year out. What's the next year going to look like? And I'll think about that kind of stuff, and I think it's good to plan those things out, and I think it's good to kind of strategize what your next year is going to look like, with the idea and the understanding that things change, man. It's a battle plan. You plan it before you start, but then like as you go, you got to adjust, you got to be flexible, you got to move things around as things start coming at you. But it's been very, very helpful for me to plan things out in advance like that. Now that being said, all that planning that I do, and I could show you notes and notes, pages and pages of planning, right down to right down to very much minute detail, all the way up to the bigger, broader scope of things. And it's cool to plan it all out, and it gives you confidence to plan it all out. When you see it all laid out on paper, it gives you confidence and stuff. However, let's not ignore the elephant in the room. All those hours that I spent planning that out for the year, sometimes it might take 2 days to plan out the whole year. It takes time sometimes to figure out how the puzzle's going to look. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room. That's not an IPA. That's not an income producing activity. All that planning that I did, it doesn't mean anything unless I execute on that stuff and I start doing things that produce money. So, what I'm telling you is every day you need to do one IPA, one thing that is a direct link to money. All right. It doesn't mean you're always going to be successful, but the potential should be there. All right. If you're a fisherman, every day there should be a line in the water. You should be able to catch a fish every day. Okay. If you're a fisherman and you got no lines in the water and you got no boats on the water and you got no nets in the water, no gill nets in the water, okay, how can you catch a fish? You can't catch a fish lounging around reading a book about catching fish. You can't catch a fish, you know, sitting on your couch, writing up a game plan for how you're going to catch more fish this year. You can't catch a fish that way. Those are indirect, income producing activities. They're not direct income producing activities. Not saying you don't need them. You do. It's good to have them. You got to have both, man. There's more than one part to a good business. Okay. You need some of these indirect, activities, right? But, most importantly, you got to keep your eye on the ball when it comes to generating revenue. And most importantly, there should be something in your business every day that is the equivalent of a line in the water to catch a fish. Now, look, I mean that very nuanced, okay? I'm not saying that your prospects are fish, okay? You're not trying to throw a hook in your prospect's mouth so you can pull them in and eat them, okay? This is not predatory, all right? The idea is that you can help somebody today, right? The idea is that you can help somebody today because you're putting products on the market that actually help people. But they don't help people if no one's buying them, and no one's going to buy them if you're not advertising them. So that is my point. So if you have an email list, you should be sending an email out every day. If it's not going to be an email, it should be something, a social media post, something somewhere that has the potential to generate you revenue today, right? That's what I'm saying. And every day that I do this, it always pays me off. And every day that I ignore this rule, it always costs me money. So if you want to make more money, try to put out income producing activities every single day. Don't get lost in the weeds of fake IPAs and indirect IPAs, right? So anyways, look, man, thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys. I hope you're doing amazing. And today is Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. And let me tell you something. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Fantastic 4-day sale. Easy opportunity. I'm doing a weekend sale. Boom, 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 boom. Very simple. Anyways, look, man, if you like the way I talk, if you like the things I have to say about business, I only have one thing for sale right now. Just one thing. It's called the Epic Conversions Monthly, right? That's the Epic Conversions Monthly. That's what it is. It's a paid monthly newsletter. You can find that. Just go to epicconversions.com, scroll down. You'll see a link to Epic Conversions Monthly. Check it out. If it makes sense, join me in there. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Go about your business. Anyways, if you like this, I'll see you in the next one. Peace now. Be good. All right.